The Lighthouse Miracle. Miguel Alvarez's near-death survival story. The sea had always been both a gift and a gamble for Miguel Alvarez. For more than 30 years, he had made his living as a fisherman in the small coastal town of Nazaré, Portugal. Every dawn, while the rest of the village still slept, Miguel pushed his small boat out onto the waves, chasing the silver glimmer of sardines and mackerel that filled the nets and fed the town. He loved the sea, but he also feared it. Because in Nazaré, everyone knew. The ocean could be generous, but it could also be merciless. Its storms had swallowed countless men, left widows staring at empty horizons, and children waiting for fathers who never came home. And yet, Miguel never thought he would be one of them. That changed on one fateful November night. The day had begun calmly. A crisp wind swept over the coast, carrying the smell of salt and seaweed. Miguel had gone out with two younger crewmen, João and Pedro, both in their 20s, strong, eager, still learning the rhythms of the sea. They had debated whether to go out at all. The radio had mentioned a storm forming somewhere far offshore, but storms were common, and Miguel trusted his instincts. "We'll be quick," he told them. "One last haul before winter." By late afternoon, their nets were heavy. Fish spilled across the deck, shimmering like coins. But then the wind shifted. The horizon darkened. What had been a pale blue sky turned into a wall of iron-gray clouds. The storm moved faster than any of them expected. Waves rose like monsters from the deep, towering higher than the mast. Rain hammered the deck like bullets. Lightning ripped across the sky, each flash illuminating terror on João's and Pedro's faces. "Hold her steady," Miguel shouted, gripping the wheel with all his strength. But the sea had no mercy. A wave taller than a house crashed against the side of the boat, smashing the mast and flooding the deck. The vessel groaned, wood splintering under the pressure. Another wave followed and another. The small fishing boat was no match. "Abandon ship!" Miguel yelled. But there was no time. A wall of water crashed over them. Miguel felt himself lifted, thrown and then swallowed whole by the Black Sea. The cold hit like 1,000 knives. Salt water filled his mouth and lungs. He fought to reach the surface, but the current dragged him down. His chest burned. His arms grew heavy. And in that moment, as the ocean claimed him, Miguel thought of home. He saw his wife, Rosa, waiting by the window of their small white cottage. He heard the laughter of his grandchildren running through the cobblestone streets. He thought of the smell of roasted chestnuts in the town square, the sound of church bells at dawn. Then, everything went dark. Silence. Weightlessness. And then, light. Miguel opened his eyes to find himself standing on a shore unlike any he had ever known. The sea was calm, the air warm. Before him stretched a radiant glow, soft, powerful, brighter than the sun, yet gentle on the eyes. From the light emerged two figures. His father, strong and weathered, as he remembered him when he was a boy, and his mother, her face tender, her arms outstretched. "Miguel," they called, smiling. Tears filled his eyes. He hadn't seen them in decades, yet here they were, whole and alive. He rushed toward them, his heart overflowing with joy. In their presence, every burden he had carried, the years of toil, the grief of lost friends at sea, the worries of providing for his family, vanished. He felt peace. He felt home. But then another voice came, deeper, resonant, like the sea itself speaking. "Miguel," it said, "not yet." He stopped, the light around him pulsed. "Your time has not come," the voice continued. "Your family still needs you. You have work left to do." Miguel shook his head. "No," he whispered. "Please, let me stay. I'm so tired, I want to stay in this peace." But the voice was firm, though filled with love. "Not yet." The glow around his parents began to fade. Their faces blurred. The warmth slipped away, and then pain. Salt burned his throat. His chest heaved. He coughed, choking on seawater, gasping for air. The storm roared back into his ears. He was alive. Miguel clung to a broken piece of the boat, his body bruised and battered. Around him, the sea was chaos. He called for João. He called for Pedro. But the only answer was the howling wind. Hours passed. The night stretched on endlessly. Rain lashed his face. Every wave threatened to tear him away. But Miguel held on, repeating the words in his mind. Not yet. Not yet. As dawn broke, the storm began to calm. His body was weak, his lips blue, but in the distance he saw it, a beam of light cutting through the fog, the Nazaré Lighthouse. That light became his anchor. With what little strength he had left, Miguel kicked and pulled, guiding the wreckage toward the rocky coast. Just as his body threatened to give out, he heard voices. Rescue boats, drawn by the lighthouse beam, had found him. They pulled him aboard, wrapping him in blankets, shouting orders. One rescuer swore later that Miguel's eyes glowed with a calm he couldn't explain. Miguel survived. But João and Pedro were never found. The grief weighed heavily on him. For weeks he could not sleep without hearing their cries in the storm. He questioned why he had been spared and they had not. He carried their names like stones in his heart. And yet, the memory of the light never left him. Nor did the words of the voice, "Your family still needs you." Miguel told his story quietly at first, unsure if anyone would believe him. But the village listened. Some nodded in faith, others in doubt, but all were moved. He spoke of his parents, of the shore of light, of the voice that sent him back. He said it was not a dream, not a hallucination, but more real than anything he had ever known. Years passed. Miguel no longer went out to sea. Instead, he worked at the harbor, teaching young fishermen, warning them of storms, reminding them to respect the ocean's power. He became a mentor, a storyteller, a living reminder of both the sea's cruelty and its miracles. Every evening, he walked to the lighthouse that had guided him home. He would stand at the base of the tower, watch its beams sweep across the water, and whisper, "Thank you. I will not waste the time I was given." His wife often joined him, slipping her hand into his. They would stand together in silence, watching the horizon. In time, Miguel found peace. Not because he had answers, but because he had been given another chance. He carried the memory of João and Pedro with reverence, honoring them by living fully, by telling their families the truth, by sharing the lesson he had been given. That life is fragile, that love is eternal, that death is not the end. Miguel Alvarez, the fisherman who died in the storm and returned, lived another 20 years. And every soul who heard his story, whether they believed in the light or not, walked away changed. Because sometimes it is not in the calm seas, but in the fiercest storms, that miracles are born.